How do we want to start this?
Rock, paper, scissors. See who reads the first question.
All right. Hey! Welcome to Questions with the Intern.
Hi, I'm the intern.
That was terrible. Alright, let's... Starting. Okay.
This is gonna be fun.
Yes. Do we want to explain what we're doing, or just go right into it?
You can't explain anything. Are there any more? First of all, are there any more Ask the Intern questions?
We will do some, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love this. We have so much fun with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So welcome to our first video series where the teens have submitted questions for us to answer, and we're taking most of them in class, but there were several really good questions that we just don't have time to get to in our Wednesday night class. So we're making these videos where we try to answer as many of your questions as we can and post them online. So the questions today have to do with friends and relationships. And the first question is, how do you know who you can trust? And I think that's a really big issue these days. I mean, so many people are trying to put on masks and trying to put up a front, and it can be really difficult to know when somebody's being honest with you and not just leading you on, not making you try to think something about themselves that's untrue. So it's hard to know when people are being genuine and authentic with you. But I think there are some ways that you can be a little bit more confident about who to trust. What do you think, Brady?
I agree. There are certain ways. I have not mastered them yet, but I will eventually. He will explain more on what those ways are, since I'm not confident enough yet.
Yeah, it's something a lot of times you have to learn with experience. You've got to be burned a few times before you can really know what to do. So I think, first of all, when we look at Scripture, a lot of times the idea is not to trust men, not to trust people in general, but first and foremost to put your trust in the Lord. There's not much to encourage us to trust other people, because people are complicated, people are broken and sinful, and people will let you down. Even if they have the best intentions and the purest motives, people will ultimately let you down. But I think if we first and foremost put our trust in the Lord, then when we are burned by other people, it won't come as such a shock or a surprise, and won't be quite as devastating. Secondly, Jesus tells his disciples a lot of times that you will know people by their fruits. So he uses this metaphor of the tree. Like an apple tree can't produce oranges, a fig tree can't produce grapes. You know what tree it is by what kind of fruit it bears. And I think the same applies in the lives of people. You know what kind of person they are by the fruit that you can see in their lives. How do they act when they're around other people? What kind of deeds are they doing? What kind of lifestyle are they living on a day-to-day basis? Who are they when they think nobody else is watching? That's a really big part of character and integrity, and looking beyond maybe the outward appearances and getting a little bit more into the heart. So there is a judgment call to make. You can know a little bit about somebody by the fruit of their actions and their lifestyle. Thirdly, I think you need to be trustworthy yourself. Be the kind of person that people can trust. Be the kind of person that people can lean on and rely on and know that you're not going to stab them in the back. Be a trustworthy person yourself, and chances are you'll attract other people who are just as trustworthy into your friend circle and into your relationships. And then finally, I think we need to recognize the brokenness in everybody. Everybody's sinful. Everybody messes up. There's nobody who gets this 100% correct all of the time. People, like I've said, will let you down. And you've got to know that going in, and not base your entire life on whether somebody's going to be completely trustworthy and honest with you 100% of the time, 24/7, because we won't be. We will be disappointed. We will be let down. And the more you recognize that, the better prepared you will be for when that happens. Got anything to add?
Moral of the story, be trustworthy yourself so others can trust you. There you go. So the second question that was asked was, what do you do if you like someone but they have an ex-girlfriend? He's nice and sweet, but I don't know if I can trust him with my heart. And the answers that we came up with is pretty simple. Don't ignore the red flags.
Just because somebody has an ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, doesn't mean they're not boyfriend or girlfriend material. Doesn't mean they're a bad person. But chances are, the more ex-boyfriends or ex-girlfriends a person has, the less likely you are to enjoy a long-term relationship with that person. Now, that might seem harsh, and it is a judgment call again, but we've got to use some common sense. Like Brady said, don't ignore the red flags. Don't ignore the warning signs. I've heard horror stories that I won't get into right now, but I've heard horror stories of people who have ignored all of the warning signs when they were dating somebody. The verbal and physical and emotional abuse, the authoritarianism, the controllingness, the jealousy. They've ignored all those things because they love that person, when all of their friends and family around them have seen those signs and have warned them. But they didn't listen to their friends and family. They were so blinded by their love and their infatuation with this person, they ignored it all and got married, and it ended horribly. If anything is bad when you're dating, it's going to be that much worse when you're married. So I know in junior high and high school, it's not as serious, but if all of your friends see this person and are trying to tell you that they might not be the best person for you, or that you might not be able to trust them, listen to your friends. Or if your parents, see this person, maybe invite them over for dinner or a family outing or whatever, and if they interact with this person and then come to you and say, I don't think they're a good fit, listen to your parents. They're not trying to make your life miserable. They're trying to protect you and keep you safe. So this person, this guy who has an ex-girlfriend, maybe just broke up recently, that doesn't mean he's a bad guy. But you got to look a little bit more into it. Why did they break up? Was it his fault, her fault? What happened? And maybe do a little bit of snooping before you make the next move with this person. And that's not saying you can't be friends with them.
Mm-hmm.
I think, starting out as friends is a great way to go.
Yes.
So just be aware that, again, people are broken. You will know them by their fruits, what kind of person this is. And after all is said and done, if you make that judgment call and think it's worth a shot, then hey, it's worth a shot. But don't ignore the warning signs.
Mother knows best.
If you have a friendship that's broken, how do you know if you should fix it? If it looks like bullying? What are your thoughts on this, Brady?
My personal experience is love them no matter what. If they are hurting people, then it's most likely that they are hurting themselves. So you never know what somebody's going through. Just be there for them. And if it doesn't get any better, do what we talked about in class the other night and gradually withdraw yourself from them. Take it step by step, just take yourself away from them. Not all at once, but gradually. That way they'll know something's up. They might question you, but you have an answer for them.
Yeah. There are some friendships that aren't worth keeping. It's not worth it to keep toxic relationships in your life, because we become like the people we hang out with. And chances are, if your friend is bullying, then chances are you will go along with them in bullying others. Or if you are taking that punishment onto yourself, that's not good for your self-esteem and your development either. So it might be time to just move on, like he said, to gradually withdraw. But make sure that when you talk to this friend, and if you try to repair this relationship, this friendship, then make sure you do it with love and gentleness and empathy. Empathy meaning feel with them, and to put yourself in their shoes and find out why they might be behaving the way they are. Because like he said, if somebody's hurting other people, a lot of times they're hurting inside themselves. As the saying goes, hurt people hurt people. So be aware of that. And then if you can mend those bridges, then great, awesome, that's a friendship saved. But if not, you can always move on.
Finally, how can I make someone happier without making them more mad? For me, my personality is to make jokes. I am literally Chandler from Friends. I make bad jokes in awkward situations to try and cheer somebody up. Works most of the time, but that's not everybody's preferred choice. He has other choices.
Well, along those lines, there are some proverbs that say things like a word fitly spoken is like apples of gold on plates of silver. It's just beautiful. So, and there's also one that says, a harsh word stirs up anger, but a kind word turns away wrath. There's also proverbs that say, like, a kind word can lead to a merry heart. Some things like that. So being kind to people who are upset and not getting upset in defense of yourself, which is way easier said than done. But also to recognize that it's not only up to you to determine how this person feels. Their emotions, their feelings are not completely under your control. You can do the best you can to be kind, to be silly, to be goofy, to cheer them up. But if it doesn't work, don't take it personally. One really good bit of advice was from Megan the other day as we were talking about these questions. And she said that a good idea might be to ask the person when they are in a good mood, what are some ways you like to be cheered up, or what are some ways you can get into a better mood when you're feeling down, when you're feeling angry, upset? What are some ways that will help you cheer up and become get in a better mood? And if you ask that question while they're in a good mood, they'll very likely be honest with you. And so when the time comes that they're having a bad day, like we all do, then you can take what they've already told you and apply it. There are some people who, if you try to goof around with them, joke with them, cut up with them, will just get more mad. So you got to know if they're that kind of person or not. Some people just want to be left alone. Some people just need their space, and you've got to give it to them if that's the case. Some people just need to sleep on it, or just need to go on a drive through the country blasting angry punk rock music or whatever, and screaming at the top of their lungs in their car to nobody, and then they come back feeling much better. So realize that it's not all up to you to make somebody feel better, but also realize there are probably some things you can do, and finding out ahead of time will probably help. Alright, so that's all we got for you this week. Join us next week. Again, we'll put out more of these videos where we try to answer the questions we don't get to in class. So share these with your friends, give them a view, give them a big thumbs up if you like it. And we will link to some scriptures and stuff down in the description below. And until next time, have a fantastic week. Keep asking questions.
I had an idea halfway through.
What's that?
We should include a blooper scene at the end.
I think that's very likely.
Yes, let's do that. Because if they're hurting us, or if they're hurting you, then you're perfect.
Cut.
And itch.
Okay. Word.
Probably daddies or yeah, my dad here, man. Mama's boys.
YouTubers make it look so easy to make videos.
I know.
It's really not.